This is MFerguson doing MIS372, assignment number 6. So I usually start from scratch. What we were doing was the stored procedures for Shopify. I was already working in here, so it looks like everything is still open. So with Shopify, it was basically stored procedures. Since we've already built up our database, I already have all my categories: customers, products, sales details, sales summary. So the new ones I've been working with are the summary reports that we were supposed to create. And let me just make sure. Yes, so the summary report I have here, I made a stored procedure for each one and then one that has all three of them. So that was the category summary report. I have the product summary report, and then the customer summary report. And then I had the master summary report. And that just runs everything individually. So just run this one real quick. So just to break them down real quick, this was just for the customer's summary report. So this was a quick one. Just pulling out the customer ID from the customer table, first name from the customer table, last name from the customer table. The table names are going to be customer ID, first name, last name. I'm doing a count of the sales ID from the sales details, and I'm listing that as a number of sales table, column rather. The sum of the units in the sales details. Well, just breaking it down, the units here. This just identifies the table that it's coming from, so that if it said units, if units was in, say, my sales summary, it wouldn't get confused. The system wouldn't get confused on me. So anyway, I'm taking the sum of the units, the line total, the sales details, or I'm sorry, the units, the cost, which is the cost times the units. That's your total expenses. And then I set up the line total. I subtracted the cost times the units, so we can get the total profit. It's basically just your revenue minus your expenses. I pulled it from the sales details, the products, and the customers tables so that they're all together. Let's see here. And then they're all intertwined. You get the product ID from both the sales details and the products table. You get the customer ID from both the customers and the sales detail. So they're all foreign key. They have relationships. And then I just grouped each one of them by the customer ID, the first name, last name, and I ordered it by the total profit, descending. So you run this report, and you can see down here, since it was organized by, it was ordered by total profit, I have profit at the very top. You can see our most profitable customer was Noah Lee for $25.12. Least profitable customer was Maya Patel, $5.58. Exact same setup for the products, so I don't need to go through this. It's all the same, really, except for you can get a product report, and if you were interested in looking up the profit by item, you'll see that the Lenovo Legion Goes, they're selling for the most, they're generating the most profit rather. Followed by the Steam Deck. The Batman movies, it looks like the movies are on the lower end of the spectrum here. They're not generating the most revenue. So they're definitely getting the bulk from consoles. Let's see, and then I also had category setup. Exact same setup here, except for I listed it by categories, so it's much more aggregated. You can see the total profit. The bulk profit is coming from consoles, that category. The least is coming from movies. So if they wanted to know what to specialize in, it would be looking like consoles, move away from movies. And then, again, this was just an aggregate report of all three of them. So just a master summary that you can run. I believe that covers it for my Shopify. I have a lot of stored procedures in here for this, but I don't believe any of them are relevant for this video. So let's move over to the Coog Hotel. And in the Coog Hotel, still just set up the database, extra services, guests, reservation extra services, everything really. All right. And let's see. I'm just checking something real quick here. Oops. Oh yeah, reservations, rooms, type. All right, it's just gonna give you a bulk here, but felt like looking at it. So anyway, everything is filled out. You know, I did all my customers, got a good about 30 customers, 30 potential guests. Most are null right now, but I'll show you why. I only put in 2 entries, but I wanted to walk through it with you, so we'll do that. Anyway, these are the 10 extra services. We have a couple here for the reservations. As I said, I made a couple reservation full process. We got the room IDs, everything filled out for the rooms. Got about 30 rooms of various make and model, if you will. This kind of tells you what's going on there. Have a little bit of revenue generated. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. For the stored procedures, let's move over to the Coug Hotel. So I got much better with stored procedures. I got tired of entering them manually, and so I started making automated ones that do everything basically, and it randomizes numbers. So so what we were supposed to do was, you know, if a manager, I have to read from the other screen for the assignment here, but it was update the metrics in the guest record, because the management wants to know which records for the guests, and then the management also wanted to know the profit generated from the room type. So anyway, that's not exactly what this is right here. This is my automated full stay. I was going to show you. I was just going to demonstrate it. But what it does is it does the entire process of the reservation, the check-in, the extra services, the checkout, and then it updates all the information. And then I also made a hotel summary. So once everything is done, you can answer the questions that the assignment had asked. Management wanted to know. So for the stored procedure, very quick one. This was adopted from my original one. Add full stay, which was adopted from checkout, which eventually I started to incorporate all of them. So when you tug on one string, it pulls the sweater empty. Let's see. All right, so getting ahead of myself here. Let's see. Anyway, I had add full stay. That advanced to this automated full stay, which is basically add full stay, but it put randomized information in here. So now I have a random guest. I select the top guest from guests, and I just order it by the top one. It's always a new top one. So I randomized that, and I started messing around with the new ID. That was the one I learned. And then also the ABS checksum new ID. So this will randomize between 1 and 4 guests. I like to leave notes now. I like to have summaries of all of my work. You know, when everything is said and done and inserted, it looks really clean, almost like a receipt when you run it. So I really like doing that. And then within my stored procedure, I just put the parameters. Since I had already I declared the randomization up here for them. When you add them down here and you run it, it just adds these values in for you. So you don't have to constantly fuss and muss about going back and entering everything one at a time. So anyway, running that, ultimately you just run automated full stay. And then taking a look at what that does. So this is the note taking I was talking about. It gives you a nice little receipt. The guest ID that was entered was 26, the room type 1, 3 guests, check-in, check-out. It gives you a full stay request. Lets you know, it double checks that the guest ID is valid, the room ID is valid. It still has integrity, referential integrity. And so it's all of the stored procedures that we built up to this point kind of aggregated into one big stored procedure that runs them one by one by one by one with all the full checks that were already built. So it's a really nice system. This add a couple randomized extra services. It lets you know what those extra services are. It lets you know that the reservation was closed because it goes through the whole process of reservation to checkout, and then it lets you know how many days they visited, and then the revenue, and then make sure that the guest left. Don't want them hanging out too much longer. So anyway, once that's all done, you can kind of see it updates your. Excuse me. Let me see. That updates the room type here. It puts money right here. It updated those values that weren't there before. And then also you can see that just from running the hotel summary that I have set up here. Put a space in it, so I gotta put some brackets on there. I should probably fix that. So anyway, I run the hotel summary. I can briefly show you the stored procedure I made for that. So it just prints out the performance summary. I've been really liking, as I said, titles and making everything look nice. So I've been experimenting with that, experimenting with randomized numbers, things like that. Anyway, so this prints a guest summary. You get a room type performance, and you get hotel totals. So if a manager has questions, what's doing well? You know, what's selling well? What guests are doing the most? You can say, hey, well, Scarlett Hall, she generated 500 all on her own. She stayed in this room type. If you want to know what rooms are generating the most revenue. So let me run this and get some more data. So I'm going to run this. Oops. All right, what did we run into here? I might have run it too quickly in a row. There we go. Yeah, I ran it too fast. Give it a chance to update. There we go. And then let's go one. Another. And one more. I think that should give me about 10. Let me check my room type entries. I guess. Doesn't really make a difference here. Alright, last days. Lots of nulls here. So I had a bunch of entries prior to getting a little bit fancier with this. So it doesn't look like those have been fully worked out yet. Go to that guy again. Alright, so now we have a lot more data here to help out if manager wanted to know some information. Victoria Price is the winner now. William Martinez hasn't stayed here too much. But you can see which are the best rooms that are going right now. Looks like the most revenue has been generated by standard. So, you know, focus more your sales on the standard around that. Get people in with the standard. Maybe give them discounts on the deluxe or premium when they get there, something like that. And then it just gives you like the stays, a big overall total of the revenue. So that's about it. I believe that covers everything with all my stored procedures. I've been keeping them organized, you know, in Shopify and then in here, and I just have a bunch of stuff I've been using for myself. So that'll do it. That concludes everything. Thank you for listening.